So recently on one of my shorts, I got a couple comments really accusing me of using what would be called toxic positivity. And toxic positivity is this idea where you kind of paper over your emotions and you just put this false face on and you decide that you're not going to look at the reality of where you are, and you're also going to judge your feelings, and you're only going to see feeling good as the only feeling that has any value. Now, if you've watched any of my videos for a long time, I will always say that all feelings, all emotions are valid, and they have a reason, and they have something that you want to teach you. What I was saying in that short, and I have this from my own lived experience, everything I talk about is from my lived experience. How you are and how you think about things is a decision. It is a choice. It is a choice. It is a decision to be happy. Now, that doesn't mean that the moment you decide that you are going to be a joyful, happy person, that you're instantly in the feeling of joyful and happy. What I'm saying is that if you want to be joyful and happy, or want to be something else, it starts with a decision. It starts with the decision, because what happens is if you make the decision that this is who I'm going to be, say for instance you feel like you are overweight and you decide to lose weight. The decision came first, and then you progressed to lose weight and became that weight that you wanted to be. That's the exact same idea. The same thing as with emotions. And I am, as Brene Brown says, I am going to come of courage and bravery. Because it was interesting to me that the two people that actually made a comment have never actually posted a video of themselves of anything. So I would absolutely ask anybody that has the time to bring somebody down or make a negative comment on something, why don't you make your own video and express your own opinions on that? Because at the end of the day, I am not a guru or a priest or a preacher, and I tell everybody, take what I say. If it resonates, great. If it doesn't resonate, great. Because what that's done is it's helped you to define who you are. My end goal is for everybody to learn how to live a life of joy and happiness and peace and tranquility. I can say that I have the lived experience where I literally thought about suicide multiple times a day. I was so depressed and so anxious, and I was able to, or actually spirit through me, turned that around. And so what I talk about is things that I have a lived experience. I'm almost 60, so I've had a lot of experience. And I can tell you that I had decided to be a depressed, anxious person. Now, that's not to say that if you are depressed and anxious that there's anything wrong with that. But and I went through counseling, and I took the medicines that sometimes helped, you know what I mean? And please, if there is something that's happening for you, if you are depressed and anxious, absolutely go find professional help. And that is not me. But what I can talk to you about is my lived experience. And my lived experience was that through my counseling, through taking those different medicines, I realized at a point that there was a decision that I had been making and was continuing to make, that I would stay that person who needed that help, because that's the way that I got love. That's the way that I got fulfillment. That's the way that I got attention. That was my love language. That was how people related to me. That's how I felt that I was relatable. And switching and making the decision that that was not going to be what I was anymore was hard, because it destroyed the ego of who I was. I no longer could see myself as that person. Now I had to start seeing myself as something else, which means I really became accountable to me. That's not how anybody else's path. I'm just going to talk about my path. That's all. And if you want to make a comment, that's perfect. But I'd also, if you do want to make a comment, I would suggest perhaps you make your own video as well. So I want to just talk about what toxic positivity is, and what positivity is at its purest form. Toxic positivity is where you hide emotions. It's where you paper over emotions. It's where you tell people to buck up, and you don't allow people to be in the space that they are. Life is a roller coaster. All emotions have value. All emotions have reason, and all emotions have their time. But what I can tell you is that I went from severe depression to hope was my cycle. And now my cycle is joy to hope. So I have changed the level of emotions that I experience for me, and I have a lot more control in that realm between joy and hope, because I have changed the brain chemicals in my brain, my body, and I'm able to access new ideas and new thoughts. Spirit is able to, bring information to me easier because I am in those moments of where I can have more of the experience. And so what I'm telling you is, possibly because it's true for me, perhaps it can be for you, but for me, where I was, who I was, how I was going to see the world was and is a decision. I decide every day. We all have the same possibility when our feet hit the floor every morning of who am I going to be? How am I going to see the world? What am I going to think about myself? What am I going to think about others? What am I going to think about what happened yesterday? What am I going to think about where I am right now? What am I going to think about what's happening for the rest of the day? And that's how you show up, and that completely colors your experience. It colors your possibilities. It colors your automatic reactions. And like I say again, once you decide, or if you decide, however you decide to be, just because you make the decision doesn't mean you're instantly that person. That's toxic positivity. But once you make that decision, making a decision is separate from the emotions that you are experiencing. Those are two completely different things, because one's the brain, one's the body. Absolutely go along with whatever the body is experiencing is what it's experiencing, and emotions are the language of the body. But thoughts are the language of the brain. And the brain can decide to have new thoughts. And a decision is a thought. A decision is not a feeling. But what can happen is once you make that thought and that decision, you can begin to change the feelings. You can begin to change your experience. You can begin to change how you show up. And that was what I wanted to convey. So I really appreciate the comments, actually, because it makes me get more clear. I want to make sure that I'm clear, because I'm hoping to help other people to navigate this roller coaster of life in a way where they don't have to go through the decades that I went through before I learned this for myself. So I'm hoping that this is help to other people, because my true mission is to help one other person become joyful so they can help one other person become joyful, and so on and so forth, so this can be a joyful world. Yeah, please leave a comment if you have anything to say, and if it's something, whatever, I hope you make your own YouTube video and let your own experience or own opinion be known. And love, peace, and release. Hey, while I've got you, have you ever wondered more about the angels, who they are, how they can help you in your life, and what you can do, and what your full potentiality is? How do you live in joy? How do you have peace? How do you have health and abundance and good relationships? And just how can you traverse the angelic realm and finally let go of the pain and suffering that you are going through right now in whatever is in your life? You ever wondered? I would love for you to join my free private Facebook group, Divine Angelic Manifestors. You'll see the link at the end of this video, or down below rather, but go to facebook.com/groups/Divine Angelic Manifestors. It's free, it's private. I would love to see you there. Love, peace, release.